some aspects of last night's convention and whether or not it may have violated the law, specifically whether Trump administration employees broke federal law restricting exactly what could be considered forms of campaigning. We've got a lot to talk to Weijia Jiang about. She's standing by at the White House. But just to start off, I want to dig a little bit deeper into this Hatch Act, what the law is, and why what for many people may have seemed like a perfectly legitimate backdrop for a speech from the First Lady, why that can be problematic.
So the Hatch Act prohibits government employees from participating in some political activities while on the job. And if it's for optics only, too, there is supposed to be a real clear line between governance and politics, especially for those here at the White House. And that's why the use of the White House as a backdrop for her speech was called into question. The president will also be using the White House South Lawn on Thursday to deliver his acceptance speech. And that's really just the tip of it, because yesterday during the official RNC convention program, there was also a video, for example, of President Trump conducting official duties during a naturalization ceremony that was used in this video. And so, critics are pointing that out, too, saying that he was conducting official business during a campaign event, and that is a possible violation. There's also this matter of the Secretary of State, which I know you guys have been talking about all week. He delivered his remarks from Jerusalem while he is on a work trip. And even though the State Department says it was completely in his personal capacity as Mike Pompeo and not the Secretary of State, it's tricky, right? Because he is there for work. Talking about the security in the region. And so all of these things added up are raising a lot of questions about whether there are any violations of the Hatch Act.
Yeah, it's a good question, Weijia, and I know that the White House is pushing back, including Mark Meadows saying that folks don't, most typical folks don't care about it, but it sort of begs the question that I posed to Caitlin, why have laws if they don't matter? First Lady Melania Trump also gave her speech in front of a live audience in the Rose Garden last night, as you know, Weijia, and I was surprised to see many of the attendees not wearing masks. And it just makes me wonder, are we ever going to be over this coronavirus if people aren't taking the necessary steps to protect themselves and others around them? What are you hearing about whether or not the attendees were tested for coronavirus?
So before the event, the spokesperson for the First Lady, Stephanie Grisham, who used to be the White House press secretary, said that everybody in the audience would receive a COVID-19 test. But remember, this is the RNC and the campaign that's running the show. And this morning, the Trump campaign would not confirm that everybody who attended this Rose Garden event actually got a test. They would only say that they were consulting with an advisor and took necessary precautions. But you're so right to mention, Vlad, that in the audience, it really looked like nobody was wearing a mask. So there is a chance that they were all tested and presumably tested negative and felt that they didn't need to wear a mask, which, again, doesn't fall in line with the science because you're supposed to take that as another precaution to make sure you don't spread it. The point of contact is really important when you develop symptoms is really important, et cetera. And by the way, what really matters here is that the campaign did not confirm that everybody was tested. But I think, what we've seen throughout this week is the party really trying to put the pandemic in the rearview mirror, talking about all the accomplishments that the president has already achieved with controlling the coronavirus. Just yesterday, economic advisor Larry Kudlow talked about it in the past tense. And so this was another scenario where I think people want to present a sense of normalcy, knowing that this was a major event. The First Lady was a marquee speaker and wanted to seem like everything was back to normal.
So last night, Weijia, many people would have learned that a speaker was pulled from the list because of some QAnon-related conspiracy theory tweets that were sent out. Now we're hearing that another candidate, Marjorie Taylor Greene, announced on Twitter that she is going to be attending the president's acceptance speech. Why is her appearance controversial?
Well, this is a House candidate for Congress in Georgia, and she has always been really controversial, not only because she previously has endorsed conspiracy theories of QAnon, but because she had a blog herself that endorsed some conspiracy theories. For example, one that Democratic leaders were running a child sex ring here in D.C., not true. She also said, promoted the idea that the protester who died in Charlottesville, who was counter-protesting white nationalists, that was an inside job, which was also controversial and certainly not true. And so most recently, though, as I mentioned, it's because she was a supporter and could still be a supporter, but has backed away from doing so publicly, of QAnon, which continues to be a real problem for President Trump and Republicans, because even though he himself, as well as several administration officials, have said essentially, I don't even know what that is, they have not explicitly denounce this group. And, you know, they take that to be support, that's enough to say that the president acknowledges them and their work. He says that, you know, they love the country, for example. And so this will continue to follow the president as we get closer to the election, because QAnon continues to push their theories to try to help him win re-election. And this is a candidate who the president has supported. He said that she is a future star of the Republican Party. He was asked directly about her link to QAnon, and he did not answer that part, only saying that she is a wonderful candidate and hopes that she wins.
It is remarkable, Weijia, that you get the Vice President of the United States, as you know, when he was on our air, CBS This Morning, pushing back hard against one of our co-hosts, Tony DeCopel, with questions around QAnon, and the president and his support of this individual, and now being invited to the White House, but then other Republicans saying, no, of course not. She does not represent the future of the Republican Party. It's hard to discern what's what. But as always, Weijia, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you.
Thank you.